Hey guys, in this video I will show you some tips and tricks for painting with coffee. They're just things I came across when painting with coffee, and I hope you try it out and you find these tips helpful. First of all, it's important to mix enough types of coffee so you can get a variety of colors. And I use tea, I use chocolate milk powder, I use coffee powder, and I mix the three of them with coffee so I can get several colors. I always test them first to see how they turned out. Also, I always make sure I have a light color, a medium color, and a dark color so I can create contrast in my paintings. One of the most important things is to layer your colors. Layering is the best way to create contrast. I always start off with a base layer in a medium tone, and then I go on top of it with a darker shade. And the amount of layers you want to put on your paper depends on how dark you want to go. The more layers you put down, the darker it will get. The next tip I want to give you is to always think about the brush size you want to use. For instance, if you want to paint a very detailed piece, don't use a large brush. It will be so much harder to create details, and you're only making it harder for yourself. But then again, when you're painting a very large area, it's a lot easier and faster to use a larger brush. When using different shades of coffee to create contrast in your painting, you have to remember that you're using paint. So when you apply two shades directly next to each other, when they are still wet, they will smudge. And unless this is what you're going for, you do not want this. Instead, apply one color and then move on to a different part of your painting. Come back later when it has dried. There are several ways you can create highlights in your paintings, and I will explain a few. The easiest one is just to dip your brush into water and then go over your painting and let the brush absorb the paint. This will leave a lighter part in your painting. Another way to create highlights is to paint around the areas you want to keep white. In this way, you will keep the white of the paper, and this will create highlights. Lastly, you can use a tissue to absorb the paint and create highlights, or you can use it to create interesting textures. The last tip I want to share with you today is to use a toothpick to create funny textures and detailed highlights. Just pull the paint away with the toothpick, and this will leave a white line. This technique works best if the paint is thicker, darker, and has almost dried. It is more visible in a previous painting I've done, and here I've used this technique to create the texture of wood. Thank you guys for watching. I hope these tips were a bit helpful, and I also hope this video encourages you to try coffee painting yourself.